Hi, guys. Listen, if you can only see the negative in situations, see the negative in people, how do you ever expect to find joy in your life? For instance, you can be at the best party or the best resort or something, and there might be one person there who you just don't like, and you let it just take over your whole experience just because they're there having fun, and it kills you that they're there having fun. Who cares? Who cares? Live your life, right? Live your life. What if your neighbor has a new car and you hate them? I mean, are you jealous? Is it jealousy? What business is it of yours what they do? I mean, people get so wrapped up in what everybody else is doing. Just live your own life. Live your own life. First of all, do you know how much more productive you would be if you were worrying about getting things done that you needed to get done and not worried about why so-and-so has it easy, or why so-and-so has a great husband or a great wife or great kids or a great job, a better job than you? Well, guess what? They probably put in the time going to school to get the training to get that job, or they put in the time spending with their children to bring them up properly, or they put in the time to make their relationship something that works beautifully. You got to put in the time to get the results that you want. Being jealous, stomping your feet, and bitching about what everybody else has is not going to get you anywhere. I mean, can it even make you feel better? No. Thinking negative thoughts all the time creates a negative life. Looking for the bad in people all the time creates a negative experience with people. Looking for a flaw in a meal that you were served is going to ruin your whole meal. I mean, nothing is perfect. Are you perfect? Do you think that the world should just live like you? Imagine how great that would be. It wouldn't be. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own experiences. Everybody has their own backgrounds. Everybody's personal background has molded them into the person that they are. Maybe somebody's suffering right this moment and comes off as having an attitude that you don't like. That's your problem. That's not their problem. Another notion, if you are always looking at the negative, how can you possibly recognize the positive? People, you don't realize the power of your thoughts. If you dwell on the negative all the time, that is what you're going to get. And that's not some woo-woo spiritual white light talk, which I also know all about, but that's not what that's about. That's reality. All right, think about this. Imagine that you won the lottery. Imagine that you could do whatever you want and really get into that feeling. Think about who you would share your money with. Think about, the debts you would pay off or the places you would move. And when you really get into those thoughts, you can really start feeling as though it's kind of real, and you can get excited and you get happy about all the things that you're going to do. And guess what? It's not reality, but it feels real for those moments. So, if you are embarking on a project and you've done the work, you've gotten your project together, whether it's a presentation at your office or you're making a digital product or you're making a video, you've done the work, you've got it together, right? And then that little voice in the back of your head starts saying, you suck. Nobody's going to watch your video. Nobody gives a shit what you have to say. You're an idiot. Why would you even post this? How dare you? Those negative thoughts will chip away, and you might not even proceed with your project because you start believing them as though they were real. They're not real. They're stories that you're making up in your head, just like if you had won the lottery and all the people you pay off and all the places you travel to. So if you can dream about winning the lottery and make yourself feel good and happy, just think, if you're constantly putting yourself down, you can make yourself feel down. It's really that simple. Now, I'm not suggesting that you walk around in fantasy land as if everything is good and wonderful and fine and blah, 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 because, it's not. But when you have issues in your life and yet you go out to a restaurant and have dinner, can't you just enjoy the meal? Do you have to dwell on the issues in your life all the time? Or can you find it in your heart to live in the moment? When you go to your child or your grandchild's school play or something like that, or their birthday party, do you live in the moment, or you walk around with talking constantly about all of your problems? You can live in the moment. Sometimes we're in a really tragic situation in life, or a funeral, or somebody's had an accident. And throughout the day, the days afterwards, you might find yourself laughing at a joke or something, and then immediately feeling guilty, like, how dare you have a moment of joy when all these tragedies are happening in your life? Well, because the tragedies aren't happening in your life 24/7. There are situations that you have to deal with, yes. If there is a tragedy, an emergency, immediately, yes, you have to deal with it. But in your day-to-day dealings, you still have to function, you still have to go to work, you still have to engage with other people, you still have to conduct business, you still have to pay your bills, you still have to take the kids to school or their events, you still have to do these things. Do you have to do those other things in complete misery? Or can you just live in the moment? I'm not saying ignore your problems. I'm saying don't dwell on them. Your problems you can deal with at the appropriate time. The appropriate time is not while you're out with coffee with a friend, although, chatting about it, I'm not talking about that. That's different. But I'm talking about letting it totally consume your life. You don't have to. I know it for many, many people, it just seems so overwhelming. When I was about 7 or 8, there was a gigantic earthquake in California. I thought the world was never going to be the same. Freeways had collapsed, buildings had collapsed, people died. There were massive accidents everywhere. All I could see was this horrible stuff on the news. My parents were both home from work. It was just gloom and doom on the news constantly. And I thought that was our world now. And then if we changed the channel and found a sitcom or something, they were acting like it was normal. And it was so confusing for me. Like, how can people carry on in life when there's so much horrible things happening? Because that's human nature. And those horrible things aren't happening at this moment. And they're not happening in your life at this moment or 24/7. There are tragedies happening all over the world, things that we can't even imagine. And yet here we are on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, caring about with our lives. I urge you to just find moments when you feel your mind is sweeping you away down to the shitty river of gloom and doom. Get out of water. Get out of the water. Look at the sunshine. Look at the bird. Oh, wait, you're going down the shitty river of gloom and doom, rowing fast? Yay. Well, wait, all you have to do to get out of the shitty river is, I don't know, look over at that beautiful tree in all of its fall glorious colors and appreciate it, right? For that little tiny moment, you can feel a little bit of happiness and joy. The more you do things like this, the bigger those moments get. And when you get to a point where you realize that no matter what happens, no matter what shit is thrown your way, you have the capacity to handle the problem and still carry on with your life and have your happy life and happy days. It's worth a try, right? Follow me. Get on my list if you want. I have lots of freebies. I have paid products. I have a coaching program. I post here not as often as I would like, but I do plan on making longer form content and babbling to you all for as long as you listen. I hope you stick around with me. Thanks so much.